Okay, so let's start looking at the connections for the bracing. Now for this component, I'm going to use component number 20, tube gusset, and you apply these components in the same way as all the other components you've seen up to now. So you primary member, secondary member, middle button to complete. Okay, so we've got a straightforward tubular bracing connection on here. Okay, so just to explain about this one, so we can open up this dialog window here. So this is where you're configuring the geometry of the connection, and then for the gusset plates, we specify those here. So we've got a gusset plate here of 12 mil, and then for the bracing connection, we've got a connecting plate, which is this one for 12, and we've got an end plate, which is 20. And I'm just going to make that end plate a little bigger. That's not quite right. I should imagine it's 150, something like that. Okay, and we'll leave it at that. That looks pretty sensible to me. Now, I'm going to use the same component for all the bracing connections, whether they're double connections or not. Okay, so let's see what happens when we do a double connection. You can see there that it puts a double component, a gusset in that picks up both bracings, and it also makes sure they're not clashing here, which is pretty useful. So we can use that same component for all of the bracing connections. Like so. We can also use it for the vertical bracing. So if I go down to the base plate, you'll see this one component is very versatile. So there is a clash there that we can take care of. That's no problem at all. So if we open up the dialog box, I can change this specification here. Let's change it to 100 just to show what it does. So it will bring the point here from this plate. It will make the gap from that point there to the face of the column 100 mil. And you can see it's taken it down to the base plate. I can actually manipulate the size, the shape of that base plate so that it sort of trims it back to the edge of the base plate here as well. So if I put 200 in there, you can see what it's doing to the gusset plate, which is pretty useful. Okay, I'm just going to load in the standard, reset that, and then go to this again. You can see it's taking care of the clash. We don't need to worry about it. And then up at this top one with the where it meets the eave tie, again, that gusset's pretty big. We could correct that by bringing the endpoint of this brace down, which would make that gusset a bit more sensible. A bit too far, something like that. Okay. Just realized that the end plates for these were reset, so we'll just modify those, get those back up to 150s, which is good. Let's get those done as well. Make sure that one's okay, that's fine. Right, now the rest of these eave ties. So you'll remember that I drew the eave tie in as one long member. We've got to break this down now into the individual spans. So if we go to the edit tool, go to the split command, pick the part, pick the split point, and that will break that one member down into multiple members. Okay, that's just a shortcut to make sure that the axes are in line. Okay, so let's go down and complete the rest of these. I don't need to see through it to know I did it, but I can change the rendering level so that we can just double check that those components are going in as intended. I need to be a bit more accurate with clicks with this rendering level set. Let's go down here and let's click those. Okay, so those are done. So inevitably you'll be thinking, well, what about the rest of the bracing? Well, you might remember the mirror command I used at the beginning for the rafters. I can utilize that again, but in order to do that, I need to take this eaves tie out. So I'm going to select all of that bracing like so, and then I'm going to copy special mirror that. I'm going to mirror that around grid line C, and then I get a complete brace bay with all of the components carrying over as well. And then I can select these also. Let's pin that out of the way. And then I can do the command again, copy special mirror, this time around the apex line, and then I've got bracing on the rest of the building. Obviously I'm missing those 2 bays of ties, so I can do the same thing there. Just select those, copy mirror, done. Okay, pretty straightforward. That's my portal frame done now.